Let's get this thing started. Happily dappily doobly. Happy Monday to everybody. I guess, hey, pre-rapture week, I guess. All right. Let's jump right on into it. If you weren't aware, yesterday was the big Turning Point USA rally that took 2 to 3 business minutes to have thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk. His widow, Erica Kirk, did a lot of hugging up on Smelly McSmelly Pants, Taco Tits Trump, and decided after she said that hellfire and brimstone would rain down upon the person who snuffed off the life of her dearly gumlicious husband, once she found out that the shooter was a right-wing groiper from Utah that is white, she has chosen to forgive him. And instead of praying and actually shedding a tear, she tried to force the tears. And you would think a former pageant queen would have learned how to truly weaponize her position as default damsel in distress, but she could not squeeze a tear out, and she just kept putting up, I love you, to the sky. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't have a pen to write in the book of any life, but I do not believe that Charlie Rigor Kirk is looking down upon anybody. Um, he's not slumbering, waiting for the second coming of Jesus. He is wide awake in the lower room. And I love how J.D. Vance gave a quote stating that Charlie Kirk was taken from them and that the shooter thought that they were going to be having a funeral, but they didn't. They had a revival in Charlie's name for Charlie's God. Charlie's God. I'm glad they confirmed that Charlie was not worshiping the same God as millions of other people. And if you are in need, if you're a parent, if you know someone who happens to be houseless, if you know a college student in the Grand Rapids area, the idiots that decided to go for Sniffy slash Grinder slash Pornhub Fest, aka the Turning Point USA rally that took 2 to 3 business minutes to honor the memory of Gummy McGumpants Butthead. They left wagons, bags full of snacks and drinks, chairs, tumblers, some good Stanleys, some Miyokis I saw out there. They just left it. They did not have the forethought to check the rules of the stadium, or maybe they thought that the rules would be suspended since every other rule was suspended for the sake of Gummy McGumpants providing Taco Tits Trump with the rally numbers he's been chasing since he decided once again to throw his hat into the political arena. Um, so yeah, they just left it there. They didn't take it back to their cars. They didn't ask like at the door, like, is there, because some places will have an app where you can rent out a locker and they'll tell you where to go to put your stuff in the locker. You go into your event, you come back out, you can get your stuff from the locker. Now, this particular stadium has a no bag policy. A lot of them, you can take a clear bag, or, they have to go through and, really check out your bag. So they just left it. I don't know why you're taking a chair to a stadium, but nobody accused anybody associated with Turning Point USA as being smart. Okay. And this Turning Point USA / MAGA rally, I hope y'all know that it was sponsored fully by we, the taxpayers of these here United States. I say we all collectively get together and demand a chargeback. Okay, because we didn't get nothing out of this. Okay, we didn't want it. We didn't ask for it. Hell, Charlie didn't even ask for it. And there are some pastors out there that played an AI generated video that was provided for them, where in Charlie's voice said, "Don't mourn for me." And remember, he didn't believe in empathy. So, and for those of y'all, yeah, give us a refund. Absolutely. And for those of y'all out here preparing for the rapture, dear God, first of all, the rapture is a concept that came around in the 1800s from a woman in the 1800s, a white woman who said that she was meditating and then she was just taken over, and this came to her that goes completely against the word. And ever since that concept has come out, more and more churches, okay, that don't necessarily worry about whether or not their ministerial staff has been called by God Himself. They're just like, well, I called myself and I answered for myself. Good enough. You can be the pastor. They just increasingly direct people to study for the sake of that echo chamber. Okay. Okay. That's number one. Number two, when you're swept away into the air, y'all are showing that you don't read the Bible. You don't even skim the Bible. You don't even read the Sunday school books. Okay. You don't even read Bible for Dummies. You don't even pay attention in the church house. Okay. They're not going to your mortal body up there. Okay. You are a new creature. You get a new body. Okay. Once you get there. Okay, because I know for comfort, we say, I can't wait to get to heaven to see my mama again. You won't know that it's your mom. Okay. Everybody got a new body. You're going to ascend as Christ is descending for the second coming, and y'all gonna meet in the air. You ain't gonna be able to hold on to nothing. And you leaving instructions for people who are left behind, baby, they're not reading that. Y'all putting all this energy and effort into things that you should be putting energy and effort into for yourself while you're here. You're leaving study guides for other people when you need the study guides right now. Y'all out here talking about you don't have the time, the energy, or anything to keep your house clean, but now all of a sudden you done made time to finally check into your 401ks, to laminate index cards for somebody else. And also, do you think that while people are going through extreme trials and tribulations down here on earth, they're going to give a damn to read what you got on the mirror, or that they're going to care, or that they're even going to notice that you're not around? Because like-minded people are around like-minded people. So those left behind wouldn't know that you done left. Let's be real. Let's be real. Not to mention, y'all do realize each and every time. Let's say for the sake of argument, okay, God the Father decided, you know what? March 3rd, 1997 seems like a good day for me to send my son back. That's the day. I'm gonna put it on the calendar, and like I told him, I'm gonna send him like a thief in the night. They ain't gonna know. It's gonna be more. It's gonna catch them more off guard than when I sent the flood for Noah. Yeah, and then y'all started doing the exact opposite, trying to put the puzzles together of the jigsaw puzzle when you don't have all of the pieces. Throughout the Sky Daddy Handy Daddy handbook, it says that your understanding is not of God's, and you will not have a full understanding of God's until you meet up with him. Okay, till you get there and you have that co-reign with Jesus, Yeshua, if you will. So if you have not gained that understanding, how are you deciphering it? And that's what you're not supposed to do. So he's like, you know what? When y'all stop with the witchy poo craft, trying to have predictions, trying to read the leaves like you're not supposed to, then I'll come back. I'll send him back. Okay. 10 to 15 business minutes go, but y'all doing this shit again. Y'all don't listen. Y'all still saying that you the best of the best. Talking about God told you not to do this and to hate the sin and not the sin. I didn't tell you none of that. And I didn't tell you that was a damn sin. You worried about somebody being out of wedlock. When was the marriage ceremony for Adam and Eve? Quickly. When did I come down and marry them? Oh, okay. And you sitting there calling all these kids bastards. Do you know what a bastard is? A bastard is a child conceived from an inappropriate relationship. You could be married and have a fucking bastard kid. I ain't say nothing about no gay people. I just said grown men shouldn't be laying down with little boys and doing nasty stuff to them. That's what I said. Sodom and Gomorrah. So we gonna ignore all the rape that was going on. And y'all Y'all think that the story about don't rape and be hospitable was about gay people. Do you not know history? Do you not? Most of the globe is gay. Where's your G spot, sir? Where did I put your G spot? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Me, the Lord. Where did I put your G spot? Mm-hmm. 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 Now, before the slang definition for gay took precedent, what did gay mean? Oh, happy. If you're happy and you know it, you are gay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I need y'all to stop fucking shit up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why do you think the aliens stopped coming to visit y'all? Well, white people, the aliens, they would never fucking with y'all. They said y'all smell funny. They said the only thing y'all season is a latte once a year for about 45 days. You don't even season the bath water. You don't even season. You just get it. It ain't even hot. It ain't even warm. Y'all just go in there like you're singing in the rain and you pop back out and you do that like once or twice every 6 or 7 business months. You are the reason why the aliens don't. This is why we can't have nice things or visitors. But all right. Y'all keep thinking I'm coming back this week. I'm not. I'm coming back to get y'all ever. You're the worst kids. I did everything. I did everything. I was a great parent. Y'all on your own. Call your stepdaddy. Call your stepmom. I don't care who you call. Nope. Actually, Lucifer told me to tell y'all. He said you can't call him either. We're not coming to get y'all. You. What did Cardi B tell you? And it's up and it's stuck. Yeah, you ain't gonna be up, but you are stuck. Okay. Ain't got no sense. But come on, y'all. Y'all done had 67,000 raptures in my little 48 rotations on this planet. Stop. Just stop. God is sick of your shit. Y'all done put everything in his name, on his name, around his name. Lord Jesus. Y'all done created rules you can't abide by. Rules he ain't never said nothing about. Rules he don't know nothing about. He changed his number on y'all 250 years ago and y'all still ain't realized it. But I guess. But from one bit of craziness to the next. Coming from Politico, and yet I wish I was joking, but I'm not. He started with COVID trying to take us out. Then he decided to bring in RFK Jr., thinking that, you know what, I can just gut out the Kennedy Center and slowly make it the Trump Center because I got a Kennedy here and they ain't really gonna say nothing. And he didn't realize how fucking wackadoo RFK is. Trump administration to link Tylenol use to risk of autism. I'm about tired. I'm about tired of all these cockamamie excuses to try to explain away my existence and the existence of my TISM brethren. President Donald Trump plans to announce Monday that using Tylenol during pregnancy could contribute to autism risk and will advise pregnant women only to use it or generic acetaminophen for high fevers, two senior administration officials told Politico. What the hell? Oh, what? Okay, they acting like pregnant women just out here popping Tylenol like they fucking Tic Tacs. The officials, granted anonymity to share details of the announcement in advance, said Trump would also highlight leucovorin, a cancer and anemia drug, as a potential therapy for people with autism. Most drugs that they give you for cancer cause rheumatoid arthritis. The medicine that they tend to give people more often than not for rheumatoid arthritis causes cancer, which causes a vicious cycle. Now, with rheumatoid arthritis, they are supposed to run blood work every 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. But a lot of times they do not catch a person's cancer due to the medication originally prescribed until it's late stage 3 or early stage 4, more often than not. So you want to have more people ingest medications that could leave them riddled with cancer after rolling back cancer research programs. You know what? Every day I see why Trump supporters choose to be stupid because it's a whole lot less stressful. It's a whole lot less stressful if you just choose to be freaking stupid. If you know, if that's on Friday, Trump said he would have a big announcement on the neurological condition soon. Autism is totally out of control, he told reporters. I think we, maybe, have a reason why. Yes, you. I think it's your hot Cheeto taco tits breath. I think that's what it is. I think whatever toxic Avenger smoke, Agent Orange adjacent bullshit is seeping out from your undercarriage is why it is. You're going to tell me that you sundown in the wee hours of the morning, like you sundown around the clock, okay? And you got the In a statement Sunday, White House spokesperson Kush Desai said the announcement will make historic progress in addressing rising autism rates. What rising autism rates? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It is okay to say you don't know something. It is okay to ask for assistance in researching things because you have to stop blanketly. And I've been guilty of this myself. Blanketly telling people to research. Everybody does not know how to research everything, and everybody doesn't know uh, how to find all the credible sources because each subject matter has different credible sources. Like I'm not a pop culture girly. I do have a TikTok sibling, Lady Couture. She's also on YouTube. If you're not following her, make sure that you do. Uh, she's worked in the entertainment industry. Like she's worked for Rockefeller. She has the inside track. She knows who's credible and who's not. She knows where to verify that information from. So when I have a question or I'm curious about something like that, I legitimately go to her, go to the wheelhouse. And I say this because people always go, oh, we didn't have this before. We didn't have it. Yes, we have. You were either in an echo chamber in a bubble of your own making, or that somebody else made it for you, or testing has improved, visibility has changed. A lot of times we see an increase in numbers because we didn't know how to see this in people of color and indigenous people. We didn't have a test specifically for women, or we were mixed diagnosing women like heart attacks. Men and women feel the effects of a heart attack differently. And for many years, you had women thinking, oh, I didn't have a heart attack because we've only been told one set of things to look for. So it's not, oh, this is increasing out of nowhere. No, take the time, research. Just tell somebody, hey, I don't know. Could you explain this to me? Could you point me in the right direction? It is okay not to know everything. Stop walking around as if you are an expert at everything and just making up shit as you go and getting upset because you have made yourself more susceptible to propaganda and just utter lies because you won't admit you don't know something. Oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. Looks like there is a bit of breaking news according to this. ABC ends Jimmy Kimmel's suspension and his show will return Tuesday. Maybe this is Rapture Palooza 2025. Maybe this is the week of the rapture. Woo! This is coming from the Associated Press. ABC will reinstate Jimmy Kimmel's late night show in the wake of criticism over his comments about the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, officials with the network said Monday. Well, I mean, if the wife has publicly forgiven the murderer, why everybody else getting punished for doing what Charlie stood up for? Charlie stood up for the First Amendment, and y'all want to take the First Amendment away from people? Y'all sitting there talking about don't tread on me, but trying to tread on other people in the name of somebody who wouldn't gun you down if he saw you. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday, said a statement from the network. Translation: They got a bunch of backlash. Disney got a bunch of backlash. They don't want nobody to stop their money. They understand the importance of satire and comedy and the credibility that comes in not capitulating. So they want to get their money. Mhm. ABC suspended Kimmel indefinitely after comments he made about Kirk, who was killed September 10th in a monologue. Kimmel said that, quote, many in MAGA land are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk, and that the MAGA gang was desperately trying to characterize the kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Those comments were not about Kirk. Also, media as a whole, be honest. Okay? This criticizing others for capitulating while you are capitulating is ridiculous. Overt capitulation and covert capitulation is still capitulation. Just like overt racism and covert racism is still racism. Overt bigotry and covert bigotry, still bigotry. Overt transphobia, covert transphobia, still transphobia. Kimmel has hosted Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC since 2003 and has been a fixture in television and comedy for even longer. He is also well known as a presenter, having hosted the Academy Awards 4 times. Backlash to Kimmel's comments about Kirk was swift. Once again, those comments were not about Kirk. Trump got his feelings hurt because Trump once again was criticized, and Trump has spent the majority of the weekend, because let's not forget he was a headliner at the Turning Point USA convention that took 2 to 3 minutes to have thoughts and prayers for hole in the neck Kilimanjaro Kirk. But Trump has been like, everybody's so mean to me. They should have to say 3 nice things about me. And if they don't say anything nice about me, they shouldn't be on the air. They shouldn't have licensing. They're just so mean to me. If you don't want people to say bad stuff about you, don't give them material for the bad stuff. And on top of that, here's something you may or may not be ready to hear. It does not matter what you do in life. Okay? You can follow every rule put in front of you. You can say all of the right things. You can be there for people, always have a smile on your face. There's still going to be a handful of people that's going to hate you. There's still going to be a handful of people talking shit about you. There's still going to be a handful of people making up shit to make themselves seem relevant. They don't ever have to meet you, talk to you, know anything about you, okay? If they saw you out in public, probably couldn't recognize your face in the flesh, but they will still do it because you don't have to be famous or infamous to have a public. Here is something you don't think about. You were born with a public. Everybody was. Everybody has folks watching them. Everybody has folks trying to be knee deep in their business. Everybody has folks window shopping their lives, their thoughts, their hopes, their dreams, their careers, their relationships, their parenting, their whatever. And I'm saying this from experience. I used to be terrified to live as my true, authentic self. Like, oh my God, I gotta be this example and do the and oh, baby, listen, wasn't having no type of fun. Restricted myself so much. Was such a stickler for rules, etiquette. And then one day I was blown away. I was sitting in a room waiting for someone who invited me to come and introduce me to people in the room. And 2 people sitting at a table with me sat there telling me, talking shit about me to me because they didn't know that I was who they were talking shit about. And if I wasn't me, it would have been so convincing. Oh, it would have been so convincing. Taz ain't shit. You know, I whooped her ass last week and I had to cuss her out. She did this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting here like, it must be a difference. We must just have the same name. Person came up, oh yeah, this is da 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 da. And they look and I look. And that's when the old shit moment. Like, yeah, you've sat here for 30 minutes dogging me out to me and we ain't never met. And that's when I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna live life how I want to live it. I'm going to live life how I want to live it because it doesn't matter what you're going to do. There's somebody right now calling a bestie, spinning a tail on you. And if all you're going to focus on is the negative reviews, find a corner of the earth that is uninhibited. I hope you know how to harvest everything and live on your own. because somebody always gonna have some fucked up shit to say. I got people right now on TikTok that's still talking shit about me regarding a situation I didn't have anything to do with. And even in the midst of it, nobody paid attention. That I ain't had shit to do with it. I didn't say nothing. But guess what? I don't care. You got to get to the point where you don't care. And it is a long road and it's hard. But especially if you're going to be POTUS, like Taco Tits Trump, Cankosaurus Rex. Look, Cantaloupe Cankles is way too sensitive to be in any type of leadership role. This was evident when he was still just sitting atop the board at the Trump org. And the fact that he has worked diligently to hide the true history of it. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Kimmel is coming back. Late night TV is to be satirical, thought-provoking, and a pushback. It's societal civil commentary. It is often a not so silent protest. You think I'm joking? Look at the history of Harry Belafonte. Also, quick note, there's a new podcast episode up on Substack. Hey, Substack. There's new information on YouTube and TikTok, and there is new subscriber only. There's a new subscriber only series that has been started on TikTok. We will be going through the book Slavery by Another Name. Started in chapter 1 today, and each day more will be added. We're getting back there. Also, for the Nick Adams fanfic series, there's another story added. It does incorporate the memorial service in a very kiki manner. And the lesbian erotic love story. There is part 3 that is posted. Once again, Taz After Dark, linked in the bio. Also coming from Politico. Here's what happens when big-time lobbyists become big-name Trump officials. Attorney General Pam Bondi, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles were lobbyists in their past lives. Their former firms are reaping the benefits. Over the last 6 months, one DC lobbying shop in particular has become a favorite for clients with business before the Justice Department. Now here, before we go forward, let me explain something, because some people will come out the woodwork and go, well, there's already a pipeline, politicians and lobbyists. Yes, there is, but it usually goes in reverse. Usually somebody is a staffer or a politician, and then they're like, I no longer want to work on Capitol Hill as a staffer. I no longer want to work in the West Wing. I no longer want to be a politician. They either start a lobbying firm or they join an existing lobbying firm. It doesn't really go traditionally and grow being a lobbyist and then getting over into the political side, because it's actually like more money on the lobbying side. And there were a lot of staffers from the first Trump administration that started their second or third act and are living comfortably, living la vida loca as lobbyists to this day. And many of them started smaller lobbying firms. Some even became like liaisons to connect lobbyists with sitting politicians. So this, pay attention. This is why I say, stop saying things are a distraction. Politics is a jigsaw puzzle. You have to put the pieces together with the history to understand and be aware of what's going on. And it will allow you to make the proper decisions for you and those in your proximity when voting, when looking at legislation, when looking at candidates, when picking where to live nowadays. Ballard Partners has reported lobbying DOJ or one of its agencies on behalf of 10 different clients so far this year, including the National Football League, the University of Michigan, and egg producer Hillendale Gettysburg. That's more clients that Ballard lobbied DOJ for during the first Trump administration and the entire Biden administration combined. What changed between then and now? One of the firm's own is now in charge of the Justice Department. Before Pam Bondi was sworn in as Trump's Attorney General, The former Florida AG spent 6 years as a lobbyist at Ballard, where she was a partner in its DC office and chaired the firm's corporate regulatory compliance practice focusing on Fortune 500 companies. Among the clients from whom Ballard reported lobbying DOJ this year, all but one signed with the firm since Trump's election and his nomination of Bondi for Attorney General. A similar phenomenon is occurring across K Street at lobbying firms that have former employees in top roles with the Trump administration. At BGR Group, where now Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was previously a lobbyist and member of the firm's advisory board, lobbyists have reported outreach to DOT on behalf of 19 clients who have paid the firm more than $1.8 million so far this year. That's up from 14 clients during the Biden administration, which included the passage of the first major infrastructure bill in years. Yes, the infrastructure bill that Trump is currently trying to take credit for by changing the signage to put his name on it, kind of like how he did with the STEMI checks, where he put his name on it, where even to this day, idiots are like, Trump gave us a check. From where? From where? BRG contacted DOT on behalf of 6 different clients during Trump's first term, according to a political analysis of disclosure filings. Both Bondi and Duffy signed ethics agreements prior to being confirmed, which means nothing when you're the one that's supposed to prosecute over the breaking of these. You think she's gonna prosecute herself? Survey and history says she won't even prosecute friends of friends of friends. Epstein. Oh, Maxwell. Oh, Trump. Woo, got a little in my throat. They vowed not to participate personally and substantially in any particular matter involving specific parties, involving their former firms and clients of their former firms as well as their own former clients, unless they received a waiver from the department's ethics chief. Okay, let us not forget that Todd Blanche is still a member, second highest ranking member of the DOJ, and even during his confirmation hearing, still stated that his number one priority and that he was not relinquishing himself from the duties of being Donald John Trump. You know, cantaloupe can take a Cankersaurus Rex personal attorney and act as the personal attorney before any other role. Those restrictions are up in a year, but in the meantime, firms are free to lobby anyone else in the agencies in question so long as those officials are not under ethics restrictions of their own. And there's nothing stopping the lobbyists turned cabinet secretaries from interacting with their former firms in social settings. So they can tell them exactly who to talk. Like, oh, I can't talk to you about it, but Barbara Ann over there, you could talk to her about it. And her office hours are like 9 to 6:30, Monday through Friday, but Wednesday she takes a little bit of a longer break. She tends to like to go to the restaurant down there because she likes their birria tacos. Yeah, but on Saturday, yeah, she's up at the wine bar. She likes a good cafe. Yes, that's how it goes. But the lobbying by Ballard and BGR Group illustrates how, just 6 months into Trump's second term, the firms have been able to cash in on their unique ties to the administration. Lobbying disclosures aren't required to provide details about specific lobbying contacts within a given department or agency. But even if the former lobbyists in positions of power in the Trump administration aren't in direct contact with their old firms, they, of course, still have significant sway within their departments. Yeah, they did. They did mention ethics, which is laughable. And they're like, oh, don't worry. We signed this promise to be ethical and we have checks and balances because, this person is going to make sure we're ethical. And that's why I don't even think anybody in this administration could spell ethical. I'm questioning if they can even spell their own names at this point. Lobbying disclosures aren't required to provide details about specific lobbying contacts given within the department or agency. But even if the former lobbyists in positions of power in the Trump administration aren't in direct contact with their old firms, they, of course, will have significant sway within their departments. Yeah, because all somebody has to do, and it doesn't matter what job you've had over the years. You more than likely run into somebody who's come in and go, "Oh, your boss is Robert." I used to work with Robert too, and our families ended up getting really, really close. You know what that means. You know what that means, especially if the person they're referencing is your direct supervisor or over the entire department. You know what's about to happen if you tell them no. You know what's about to happen if you are the one that's a stickler for a rule. We see all over social media on a daily basis employees following the rules that have been set for them by the companies that they work for getting terminated, getting written up because they didn't do a favor for somebody's. If it's known that a cabinet secretary wants clients to be dealt with on an amiable basis, that can happen without an express directive going out or an ethics agreement being directly violated, said Jeff Hauser, founder of the executive branch ethics watchdog Revolving Door Project. This is why conflicts of interest are hard to paper away with hard to verify promises of throwing up firewalls, because a lot of this happens over networking. And a lot of people think of networking as necessarily being a formal networking event where they're like networking 101 or come network with us. No, it's the casual dinners that aren't necessarily labeled as business dinners. It's the, oh, what, this is my friend from work and they're coming over for a game night. It's the talking shop over golf, over bowling. Your children just happen to go to the same school, and before and after the PTO meeting having a little conversation, the spouses slash significant others hanging out at brunch and doing some chit-chatting of their own. And there are people who begin teaching their children how to network as well, so they're pumping your kids for information and taking it back to their parents to put together a full court press on you. They're not they're not they're not going for the extra point. They're going for the safety on your ass. They want all. Yeah. Ah, let's see. Well, France recognize France recognizes Palestinian statehood at UN meeting to revive peace efforts. Okay, 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 okay. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go. Now, if we can do this for Palestine, let's do it for Congo, let's do it for Sudan, and let's do it for us. And by us, I mean all the marginalized here on these blood drenched soils. And I'm not just talking about the United States, I'm talking about all of the Americas. Because Black, brown, indigenous people of color throughout the Americas far too long are being oppressed and suppressed. The unity we need to be talking about needs to be the unification of our diasporas and the unification of our collectiveness. If we're going to call ourselves American, it's time to be American, from the top of America to the bottom of America. And that spans beyond the 50 states. As the Gaza war rages on, France recognized Palestinian statehood on Monday at the start of a high profile meeting at the United Nations aimed at galvanizing support for a two-state solution to the Mid-East conflict. More nations are expected to follow in defiance of Israel and the United States because they're sick of your crap and people are tired of being lied to. It was okay when presumably everyone was being taught and told and backed up with, which is now we everybody clearly knows is propaganda, that both nations were living cooperatively. But looking at now, the lying, the trying to keep Palestine from having its sovereignty and being recognized so that it can have the same protections as many other nations. And yeah, people are like, absolutely not. Because what you need to realize, regardless of your thoughts on this, regardless of if you are a Zionist or not, what you do to someone else can be done to you. What you do is a litmus test. And the people around you that are getting comfortable with that realize they're going to be even more comfortable in doing it to you. So if you can watch what's happening to Palestine and think that it can't happen to you or any other nation, you done lost your damn mind. You done lost your damn mind. French President Emmanuel Macron's announcement in the UN General Assembly Hall received loud applause from the more than 140 leaders in attendance. The Palestinian delegation, including its UN ambassador Riyad Mansour, could be seen standing and applauding as the declaration was made. Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian president, was seen applauding on the live camera view after the US government banned him from attending the UN gathering in person. Let me say this again, and I want to be very clear. The United States has never willingly, earnestly, nor honestly stood on the right side of history. The United States has always stood in the gray area. The United States has never desired to stand on the right side of history. The United States has always been happily comfortable and profiting from and pretending to grow from being horrendously steeped in the wrong side of history. Okay? So stop acting as if things are new. Stop acting as if the United States is borrowing somebody else's playbook. Baby, the playbook is all ours. Yes, there were wars and nations conquered other nations, but they didn't keep people indefinitely. They didn't treat people inhumanely. They didn't turn people into a multitude of generations of livestock. That would be people who couldn't make it in other nations coming here, colonizing, and drenching the soil with blood and deciding to be tyrannical. True to the historic commitment of my country to the Middle East, to peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, this is why I declare that today France recognizes the state of Palestine, Macron said. The meeting and expanded recognition of Palestinian statehood are expected to have little, if any, actual impact on the ground, where Israel is waging another major offensive in the Gaza Strip and expanding settlements in the occupied West Bank. Here's the thing. Here is the thing. United States, when are you finally going to be about the talk that you talk? You're upset that so many people are in the pocket of AIPAC, dismantle AIPAC. Finally have AIPAC prosecuted for treason. Before you got tasked, that's a reach. I don't like exercising that much. We done went over this, okay? First of all, if you haven't seen my series on YouTube regarding AIPAC, you might want to check that out. AIPAC has a long history of espionage. And what is espionage prosecuted under? Say it all together, class. Say it all together. I know you got it in you. And AIPAC is firmly under the advisement of a foreign government. And what category is that under, class? What is it? What is it? Oh, y'all are doing so well on this open book test. I'm so proud of y'all. Get rid of AIPAC. Get rid of AIPAC and stop falling for the okie doke. To be Jewish does not necessarily mean that you are white. Jewish is an ethno religion. You can be ethnically Jewish and not religiously Jewish. You can be religiously Jewish and not ethnically Jewish. There are Jewish people who are Christian. There are Jewish people who are Muslim. There are Jewish people that are Buddhist. There are Jewish people who are Black. There are Jewish people who are Korean. Like, that's number one. Number two, if you're going to keep saying never forget the Holocaust, remember where the blueprint for the Holocaust came from. And remember that white people were not the only ones that were brutalized and erased from the census and stolen from during the Holocaust. Remember them all and remember the origins. Remember chattel slavery as well, because you're sitting here under the guise of anti-Semitic, not anti-Judaism, but anti-Semitic rhetoric, but anti-Semitic rhetoric that's only anti-Semitic when it comes to Jewish people. Because when you are cheering on the removal of a hijab, it's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic because that is a Semitic religion. And you don't have a problem with Sister Mary Margaret and Sister Elizabeth Catherine covering their heads. You don't have a problem with Jewish women and some Jewish men covering their heads. You have to stop. You have to break the cycle of the white supremacist rhetoric and calling one group victims while allowing another group to have a subset within it be tyrannical and despicable people, but you protecting them because you see them as nothing more than a perpetual victim. You all have made the Jewish community as a whole the white woman of society. And what do I mean? 9 times out of 10, you place white women as being this perpetual teenager that needs protected. Look at how the Swifties treat Taylor Swift. That heifer is a middle-aged bitch that is horrible for the planet. They've decided that she is some great saint that has never said that she's done the things that they say that she's done. She is a pedophile. She's dated and wrote songs about lusting over and loving 17-year-old boys. She is horrible for the climate. And she employs former IDF soldiers for her security. She intentionally releases multiple versions of anything she puts out just to make sure no other woman can be close to her on the charts because she knows her talent is mediocre at best. That's why she lets people infantilize her. And that's what you've turned the Jewish community into. And they don't deserve to be treated that way. Do you really think that a whole community of people wants to be treated like the toddlers of society, like they cannot go out and live their lives, as if somebody needs to be there to watch over and protect them all the time because everybody is a big bad wolf waiting to come and kidnap them? But at the same time, you bigoted, prejudiced, trucklefucks want to say disparagingly that they're in control of everything and we can't have anything because which one is it? Put some logic into something. And start voting for people based on who's qualified and who has the track record. Make politicians build up their resume before you put them on Capitol Hill or in the White House. Because let's face it, they're raising all this money for what? For what? See, before they would have merch like pins and mugs to give to you as a reminder as to who to vote for and to advertise for them to other people who to vote for. But now you're buying the merch yourself flat out. Nobody's really paying attention to commercials, and most people choose options where they don't get commercials. So why are you leaving politicians with the mindset that they need millions of dollars to run for office? But then you're upset when they become millionaires so that they can, those that are trying to do the good work can continue to do the good work because they have to put so much money into it. And you all want all this identity bullshit. They got to look a certain way, talk a certain way, walk a certain way. Y'all say that you want the common person represented, but when the common person runs for office, you dog them out because they don't look polished enough, because they were just a bartender, because they were just a school teacher, because they were just this. Make up your mind. You don't want people controlled by money, then vote not controlled by money. You say you want your lifestyle represented. Stop dogging out the people who look like, love like, work like, live like you. You keep choosing the people that can't relate to you at all. It's a disease. Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Let's get a drink on this one. This is the one we're going to close out with today. Before we get into this, friendly neighborhood reminder, do not forget that as every day, we stream on TikTok, we stream on YouTube, and we stream on Substack. So if you could, mix it up. Give a girl a view and a follow over on the Tube of You as well. And make sure you are subscribed on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Substack. So, coming from the Associated Press, Supreme Court will weigh expanding Trump's power to shape agencies by overturning 90-year-old ruling. Look, just because Trump's skin came from a botched experiment almost 90 years old does not mean we need to keep reaching back in history trying to change things for the sake of his ego. Okay? Cantaloupe Cankersaurus needs to chill. No, I can't. The Supreme Court said Monday it will consider expanding President Donald Trump's power to reshape independent agencies by overturning a nearly century-old decision limiting when presidents can fire board members. It should not happen. There's a rule for a reason. Okay? We've had some presidents before that tried to get out of pocket and be tyrannical. Now, before we stood on business. Now, this was also during a time where politicians would take it to, they would get it on the floor for real. Okay? They would come to blows. Okay? They was like, move, bitch, get out the way, like for real. Okay, they was like, I hit that bitch with a bottle every day. Every day, somebody getting a concussion. Like, so keep that in mind. Like, there were previous presidents that if somebody didn't agree with them, they were like off with their head, like they were the Queen of Hearts. Absolutely not. In a 6-3 decision, the High Court also allowed the Republican president to carry out the firing of Rebecca Slaughter, a Democratic member of the Federal Trade Commission, while the case plays out. And here's the thing, even as Trump keeps trying to replace people, the people that he's replacing them with, there's only so much they can do. Because remember, he didn't like the job numbers. He got somebody else, and they have to be like, no, these numbers are some bullshit. You're horrible. He wanted, the Fed to make some changes. And the person he put on there was like, I can't vote the way you want me to vote. Like, that would kind of tank the economy. Like, it's still not going his way. Because here's the thing. Unlike the delusion that Trump lives in, everybody else lives in the reality that even what they do for the sake of loyalty, the results of it, they have to live with as well. And I wish Pam Bondi would get the wake-up call, would see it. When you're changing all these laws and how people are litigating, you have to live with this. I am just waiting. I am waiting for one of these brilliant, career-long criminal minds, litigation experts to turn the tables on them. To turn the tables and use their tricks and their arguments and everything to do it. And I think they're waiting for a few more cases to hit SCOTUS in order to do it. I could be wrong, but that's what I feel like. Let's continue. It's the latest high-profile firing the court has allowed in recent months, signaling the conservative majority is poised to overturn or narrow a 1935 Supreme Court decision that found commissioners can only be removed for misconduct or neglect of duty. And I want y'all to keep this in mind. I've said this before. Let me reiterate it. Stop criticizing the entirety of SCOTUS, because there are 3 people fighting for their lives to protect our rights. And there is a Black woman, the only one that ticks off every qualification to be sitting on SCOTUS. Hold on. Let's get TikTok plugged into a charger. Hold on. There we go. Now let's do this. Okay, there we go. Where is? Here we go. But who's also archiving and chronicling everything for the sake of history and posterity, so that things cannot be whitewashed and redacted, and people can't just pretend like, you know, they were the greatest to ever do it and that they stood for the people when we all know that they didn't. So criticize those that need to be criticized. And also, even if somebody is MAGA or independent or anything, if they're sitting in Capitol Hill, regardless of the district that they came out of, once elected, they are your representation no matter where you live. Okay? Once they became a federal employee, they represent you. Start contacting them. Start contacting them. Tell them what you want. You have to stop letting the minority be the loudest one. We are being controlled and ruled by the minority. The majority of people are not anti-immigration. The majority of people are not anti-abortion. The majority of people are not tyrannical, bigoted pieces of shit. So why are we living in a land that's not reflective of the majority of us, of the best of us? Start calling for impeachment. Supreme Court justices can be impeached. There's checks and balances for everything. Stop giving up. Stop going, oh, well, they were confirmed. It's for life. I give nothing. Nothing is without a kill switch. You were taught that the United States government was set up on a system of checks and balances, but you won't check or balance anything. Why, Sway? Why? Why? Justice Elena Kagan, joined by Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, dissented from the decision allowing Slaughter's firing. It comes after similar decisions affecting 3 other independent agencies. You have to keep in mind, without these independent agencies remaining independent and nonpartisan and not being swept up into the political realm, we, as the regular citizens and residents, the taxpayers, the workers and consumers, are fucked. We're fucked. And this is why people like Trump and MAGA are trying to normalize, making it seem as if everything is political. They're trying to politicize everything to muddy the waters of comprehension. This is why when it comes to legal matters, instead of looking at the litigators, the judges, the police officers that dropped the ball, that fumbled, that screwed this up, that turned the other way, they've got people arguing Democrat versus Republican. This ain't got nothing to do with politics. Congress, as everyone agrees, prohibited each of these presidential removals, Kagan wrote. Yet the majority, state order by state order, has handed full control of all those agencies to the president. The majority did not detail their reasoning on allowing Slaughter's firing, as is typical on the court's emergency docket. The court has previously indicated that because those agencies exercise executive power, the president likely has the power to remove board members at will, with some exceptions. And this is why it is very concerning that the Chief Justice is taking such high-profile cases during their shadow docket time.